Okay, James, this is how to add articles to your website. I've started on a page that's already on the website just to explain how to go ahead and do this. There are two aspects of generating an article. The first aspect is writing the article, saving it in the database, and the second aspect is creating a link to it. So, for example, this is our article, and it's been written, images added, and saved in the database. But the second aspect is how do people find it, and that's the navigation, and that's on the menu system. So when we write an article, we write the article first, and then we add a link to that article which we have created by adding a link on here. So for example, history 2 is down here, more history. Okay, your administration site wasn't in the right place, so I've just clicked Control Panel. I've logged in as the results manager because it gives me the same image as you have on the screen. And I didn't have your password, I couldn't find it. So when you log in though, you will have a screen very much like this. So the first thing you want to do is add a new article, but you can also find that button that I'm hovering over now under Content Article Manager. You know where you are here by adding New. If I pressed the button earlier on, this is where we'd come to. And I'm going to use your Bill Smith obituary as an example, and I'll probably misspell stuff so that you can come back and edit it later. So the first thing we do is give the article a title. This is the title that will display here. So for example, if I go to history, you will see history, and the article will have been called history. So I will call it Bill Smith obituary. I hope that's how it's spelled. Leave the alias screen blank. It does explain that, if you can see as I'm hovering over it. You do need to select a section. So if we select Grasmere Sports and we select Grasmere Articles, that gives the database some idea of what sort of information this is. We can add categories and we can add sections. Categories are subsections of sections. Come down here. This is sort of an editing pane, and this is where you're going to write. Now the quickest and easiest way to do this is to write it either in a word processing piece of software or in just a text editor. What I've actually done is copied and paste your email into my Windows notepad, and I'm pretty sure Apple has a similar text editing like piece of software. So I've got it in there, and however you wish, just highlight it all, copied it, come across here. Now I could go right click paste on a PC, however that doesn't always work depending on what browser you're using, and you're likely to use Safari. I'm using Firefox, and other people that you work with might be using Internet Explorer. So the safest way for anybody to do this is to do the method that works in any way. But you can, if you choose to use your method and it works, then carry on. But in this case, I'm going to be pasting in a plain text document. I could choose, having written it in Word for Windows or Word for on the Apple, to paste it from Word, and what that does is it removes a lot of the formatting that Word has applied to it. However, you are much better advised to always paste from plain text. There's a pop-up box comes up, and it does explain how to do it. It says use Control-V for a Windows machine. You can also, on a Windows machine, right-click paste, and there will be a method on your Apple. So just paste it in and click Insert, and it puts it in. Now then, I'll just show you an alternative to, because you can see all the gaps in here. So we can also choose to get rid of the line breaks. And you'll see that it just comes in as a whole garbled mess. And whichever way suits you. I prefer to just put it in with the breaks because I can see where I've naturally put breaks before. Okay, but I do need to tidy it up. So this is all about Bill Smith, and what I can see is there's an extra gap in here. So I'm just going to go to the end of the line above, delete everything until it comes to me, and then press enter. That way I know that I've got rid of any spurious extra characters that have been put in by the fact that I've copied and pasted it from a different program. So I'll cut and paste here. I'll come back when I've done this. Right, here we are with all those extra gaps removed. But just for example, I'm just going to show you how to put in heading levels of 2 and 3 and 4, so you can put in subsections and stuff. So just for example, I'm going to put an extra line in here and put in, I'll just put subsection. So, and use that as a title. So I've got some form of title on here. So I just highlight it, come up to here, paragraph. I recommend you don't use heading 1 purely for SEO reasons. So start, say, with heading 2, and I'll just put another one under here, subsection, and just so you can see what, say, a heading 3 might look like. And these are all set in the styling for the thing already. You can come back and remove these, by the way, obviously just by coming here and deleting them, and they'll go away. So we've done basically everything on the left-hand side. I'm going to show you images later. On the right-hand side, if you'd logged in correctly, this would come up with James Clarkson Web there. Okay, it's come up with the person that's logged in. However, I'll change it to James Clarkson Web so you know who it is. Normally, you wouldn't have to change anything on here at all. And you just go ahead and click Save. So we're back at the article manager, and you can't immediately see your Bill Smith obituary. It just happens to be there. There's no reason for it to be there other than the software's chosen to do it, put it there. However, you can order these columns in any order you want by clicking the actual name. Okay? So what you can also do is ID, which is a number applied by the database to the content in the database. And the last thing you add will have the highest number. So if I click ID, it will reorder them initially from highest number downwards, and you can see it's there. So if you were returning back to Article Manager to re-edit what I've done, which I suspect you will have to do, you just come here and click the name, and there you are. Make your changes, click Save. Right, as I said before, we need to generate the content, but now we have to find somewhere for people to put it. So just coming back to here, on your menu you've got top levels, home, buy tickets, results, videos, contact us, sports information, with other levels of menu below, such as map and address, timetable, or history, which you'll see isn't clickable, but the ones underneath it are. Okay, so these are all part of the menu system, and we now need to add something to the menu system to direct the software to look at what we have just written. So back in your administration, if you happen to be on Control Panel or anywhere else, you cannot see anything to do with the menus. You need to come up to here, Menus, Main Menu. Now there is a representation of this structure with the under or child items below here. So you can see home, buy tickets and results, home, buy tickets and results are the furthest to the left, and they are therefore the primary items on the menu. Under buy tickets you can see field letting calendar. Under buy tickets you can see field lettings calendar. And if you follow this to its extremes, you can see senior guys raised. This is the third one down from 2011. So down here, that's level 2 and that's level 3. Okay, so we need to add a new one to here so that it shows up in the menu. So as simple as we did, we go to main menu, same page, click new. We're going to be adding an article, and it's going to be in the article layout. We need to select the article we've previously written, so select. Again, these might not be in the order you want. I can see Bill Smith's obituary there, but if it wasn't where I wanted to see it and I want to find it quickly, again, I'd just click ID to order these in the correct order. But I can see it, so I'm just going to click its name. It fills in the box for me. Now this title here is the actual title displayed on the menu. So the menu title can be different to the title of the article. And you might do that if it's a long title of the article, for example, the bad weather of 1992 that flooded the sports and sport the whole thing title, wouldn't really fit very well in the menu system. So we would shorten that to something like 1992's bad weather, or the weather of 92, or cancelled in 92, or whatever. But I think it's fairly safe. I can put Bill Smith obituary. Again, leave the alias blank, leave everything here in link blank, leave it as displaying in main menu, but here is where the understanding of how the menu system works. So, if I leave it on top, then I will create a new menu such as home, buy tickets, or results. If I want this to be a sub item, a child item underneath the buy tickets, I click buy tickets, and when I finish this process, if we came back to this screen, I would have Bill Smith obituary in the same way under field letting calendar, and I'll do that to show you. Check that it says publish is yes. You can choose no and not publish it straight away and come back in a few days and show it, publish it. Leave these as they are and click save. Goes back to menu item manager, and you can now see that under buy tickets I now have Bill Smith obituary. If I go back to our website and if I click either the home button or F5 on a Windows machine, which refreshes the website, come back along here, buy tickets, and we'll see Bill Smith obituary. That was the title we wrote as we were writing the article. Here is all the content you've put in, and as you can see, these are the different styles for, I think that was heading 2 and that was heading 3. And that is it.